Hey guys, here we are back at another episode of Busch Gardens. Today I'm going to move on to a whole new area. I'm going to start work on our hypercoaster, so stick around for that. Roll the intro. Hey everyone, welcome to my channel. All you new subscribers that have joined me, welcome. Thanks for joining, thanks for clicking that subscribe button. If you haven't already, go ahead and click it. I think it's about time my Busch Gardens park got a hypercoaster. Now, hypercoaster generally means a ride over 200 feet, so that could mean many rides, ones that technically aren't hypercoasters, like Sheikah is a dive coaster, but that is over 200 feet. But I want to go and build like a Apollo's Chariot style hypercoaster, kind of Shambhala-esque, you know, those B&M hypers. And so I'm going in now and doing like a big hypercoaster for the park. This is going to be in a new area, which I'll get to explaining what that theme is later on. I have skipped a lot of the layout construction because the first coaster that I started building just a second ago isn't the same hypercoaster that I have now in front of me. I somehow along the way must have paused the game, stopped recording, and then carried on and didn't press record or something. But I actually restarted again. I wanted to have like a drop profile like Apollo's Chariot with the kind of flat piece of track and then the drop at the top of the lift hill, but I changed that to more of like a more of a modern hypercoaster like we have now with for instance like Shambhala or Nitro. So that's what I've gone for, and the colours I've gone for a nice yellow and like a dark pinky purple support. And I'm going to go in another episode and actually do all the support work and all those details that make the coaster look a bit more realistic, you know, catwalks, the supports, the transfer track, that kind of business. Today I'm going to just focus on kind of getting the area together. And so this is going to be the last area of my Busch Gardens park, and I wanted to go with like a Brazilian kind of Rio-esque theme. So I'm going in, doing some buildings. I'm just going to play around today with lots of different pieces, colours, walls and roofs, and just kind of see what looks good together. I haven't really got anything planned. I just thought I had to start somewhere, so I started with the coaster. I know that I wanted to have the drop of the hyper kind of on the side of the hill, which I'll probably show you a lot more of in the next episode when I start doing the supports, etc. But so I might as well talk about hypercoasters a little bit. I've been on quite a few. I really enjoy them. I have some favourites and I have some ones that have let me down a little bit. And I'll talk about hypercoasters now in general, not just the B&M ones. But my favourite B&M hypercoaster is Shambhala in Portaventura, Spain. Absolutely love that ride. Great first drop and the tunnel, and I thought it was a great layout. I loved that ride a lot. The airtime was fantastic. I was really excited to ride it, and it didn't let me down. It was really, really good. From riding Shambhala, I went to America after that, and I actually was really excited to ride Nitro at Six Flags Great Adventure. And that hypercoaster for me was just a bit of a letdown. The drop didn't give me that same amount of kind of air that I like down the drop, and I found the layout to be kind of a little bit boring. And it really reminded me of Silver Star, and I'm not a big fan of Silver Star either at Europa Park. Don't get me wrong, they are really fun coasters, and I do love to go and to ride them. They're just not up there for me with the other hypercoasters. Like Shambhala, you know, just is just the best of all those B&M hypers, and the other ones lack something that Shambhala has. Mako, for instance, one of the newer hypers at SeaWorld Orlando, is fantastic. Not quite as high as Shambhala, but it's got that extra little bit of pop of air on the drop, and I think the airtime on that was really great, and I really enjoyed that ride a lot, and I rank it really high among the coasters, especially among the ones in Florida and Orlando. So other hypers, I've been on Hyperion, an Intamin hyper. That for me was actually better than Shambhala. That ride was crazy intense, and the airtime was insane. It was just beyond explanation, and that's a ride you just have to go and ride. It's at Energylandia in Poland. Really enjoyed that ride. Other hypers, I've been on the Pepsi Max in Blackpool, which is, you know, people call it the monorail, and it is fun, but it's not great by any means. And if you compare it to Magnum at Cedar Point, which I've also been on, they're nothing like each other, even though they're the same type of coaster and both built by Aerodynamics. I really, really love Magnum. I think it was great. It was kind of like uncontrollably wild. and the airtime on that was really kind of vicious, whereas Pepsi Max is a little bit boring. But they're two fun rides. I love Magnum. I also rank that one really high up in my coaster list. And then I think that's kind of all the hypers I've been on. I can't really think of any more right now. So yeah, that's my little chat on hypercoasters. What's your favourite hypercoaster? Let me know down below. Or is there any hypercoasters that you really want to ride that you haven't ridden? Let's have a little chat down in the description box about some coasters if you like. Back to this little area going on. As you can see, I've just been kind of placing random pieces down. I wanted to include a little flat ride in this area, so I've done like a bumper cars, auto scooter attraction, which I'm going to completely hide under a building. I looked at some pictures of like kind of Carnival and Rio and Brazil, and there's lots of bright colours involved, so I'm trying to just kind of get some flags out there, some bright colour walls, and I'm just going to lay down some basic walls first and then go back in at a later date and try and add some details onto these buildings just to make them a little bit more interesting. But I'm just trying to get as many colours in there as possible. There's a billboard there in front of the hypercoaster, the blue one, which has like the is it Jesus? I don't know. Kind of statue on it, and that's something that is on the hills in Brazil, in Rio, and I wanted to use it, but I didn't want to use it in an obvious way by having this huge statue and place it on a hill. And I thought, how can I use it in a way that still says this is going to be a Brazilian area, without making it like stupidly obvious. And I thought, I know, I'm going to make a billboard, and I'm just going to kind of sit that statue, I'm going to make it small and sit it into the billboard so it looks like it's a part of the picture. So that's what I've done there. I'll put a picture of that at the end in a screenshot just so you can kind of see. I put some lights on it as well. There's a nice little look at it here. But yeah, that's something I thought was really cool. I really kind of proud that I thought of that, and I like the idea. I like the little touch that I put in there. And now I'm just going to go in and just do some of these like power lines. I think it's just kind of a bit of theming. I'm just going to lay some out and just kind of see where it takes me, and as the area kind of grows, I'm going to kind of weave them through a little bit and just kind of make it a part of the theming for this area. I don't know really, I don't think it exactly screams Rio, Brazil, but I think it adds a nice touch to the area, makes it a bit more intimate and a bit more, it just gives it a little sprinkle of detail. So as you can see here, I've just kind of I am just kind of plopped down some random things just to try and get an idea of what I'm trying to do, and then in the next 3 episodes I'll go in and play around with colours and details and just kind of make everything look a little bit more put together and polished. I'm going to plan on putting one more coaster in, I think, after the hyper coaster, once I've done all the support work etc for that, because there is space for one more little coaster. I think a nice little junior coaster would be nice. And I also built a log flume, which I didn't record, so it's another thing I forgot to do, but I'll go more into that in another episode. But thanks for joining me this week with this episode. I'm enjoying showing you what I'm doing. Busch Gardens is going to be over in the next few episodes, unfortunately, because I'm getting towards the end, but it's been really, really good fun. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and give me a thumbs up if you've enjoyed this video. Thanks for joining me. See you all next time. Stay cool. Bye.